to direct your attention, and then some other bad guys started grabbing you, right? And you had to react to a lot of chaotic things going on at once. This is exactly what can happen in real life. So this week, some of you guys may or may not know that in the state of Maine, it's above Massachusetts, right by Canada, a bad man walked into a bowling alley while they were having a kids bowling banquet, kids your age, with a long rifle, and he started shooting people just to kill them, right? And there was no warning, there was no heads up, no one knew what was happening, and people had to run for cover and run for safety. This could happen at any time. That's the society we live in. But what I want to give you and make sure you have is the tools and the mindset to survive. We've talked about active shooter stuff a lot with some of the other classes. But number one, I want you to always be aware of your surroundings. We've talked about it with the AirPods and staring at the phone. You're not paying attention to anything. You're not paying attention to what's going on around you. You're taking away your audio and your visual. And those tools are going to help tell you when something's going wrong. So please don't walk around glued to your phone. Please don't walk around with headphones or the cool Dr. Dre beats, because not only are you not paying attention, but you're making yourself a target. All right? We have to be aware of our surroundings at all times. In law enforcement, we say we want to be aware of our 360. All right? That's 360 degrees. That means I always want to know what's going on around me. I'm walking and my head's up, I'm paying attention. My senses are keyed in. I'm not going to let anyone sneak up behind me. I'm not walking around like this, hyper aware, but I am aware of what's going on around me. My head up, my arms free if I got to use them, if I got to draw my weapon. Right? Always carrying a weapon. Because I have the legal right to. You guys don't, but maybe someday you will. Right? So, what I'm always looking at when I'm in a restaurant, a store, is where are my exits? Where are my ways to get out? And I want that to become something that you guys think about. If you're in a restaurant, it's not just the entrance when you came in. There's always multiple exits. And if a bad guy or bad girl comes in the front door, we're not running towards the front door. We got to find another exit. We got to get out. In every restaurant in Illinois, there's an exit through the kitchen. When I'm out with my family, before my kids can look at a menu, tell me where the exits are. I know, Dad. One right there. One right there. Right there through the kitchen. Can I eat? Right? But they're in the habit of doing it. And I want you guys to get in the habit of doing it. This was a bowling alley. And I read some of the police reports that aren't available to you. And what some people did, they froze. They didn't know what to do when this guy started shooting. That's a bad reaction. We don't want you to freeze, because you're more likely to get hurt if you're just standing there doing nothing. But what some people did was they ran down the alley where they bowled. Very smart. And they ran and they crawled through the area where people bowl. Ingenious. And they got to safety. Right? But what I want you to do is start surveying the area. Okay? Let's look around right now, and I want you to tell me where some exit paths can be. Let's look around. It's not just the one we came through, right? Where else? Like it. Right there. May or may not be open, but it's a pathway. There's a door to the school. May or may not be open, but it's a pathway, yes? Yes, good. And during this scenario, if you remember, we liked that because it provided some level of cover. Cover is something that will stop or slow bullets. Concealment is a visual barrier. But if you hide behind those concrete, that brick wall over there, that provides some level of cover, because that's a hard surface. It's very dense, it's very thick. If someone's shooting at that brick wall, hopefully those bullets are going to go into that brick wall and you have a way out, right? What about down there? Down that staircase? Could that be an exit path?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's a way to get away from danger. So I want you guys to start thinking about where are my exit paths, where can I go in case of danger. When you're in Target, when you're in Jewel with mom and dad, when you're at school, and you guys should be talking about this at school, right? We live in a proactive society, so because of last week's Maine shooting, I imagine your schools may be doubling down soon. If not, that's sad. But you guys should be going over active shooters protocols at your schools. What do you do in the event that there's a shooter? What are you going to hear over the intercom? Is there a specific code? My building, there's a code and a color, right? That everyone knows is what means active shooter, okay? So in your school, maybe ask your teachers, hey, what am I going to hear over the intercom in the event of an active shooter? Every school's different. Whatever protocol they have adopted is something that you guys might want to know. It may be code blue. It may be active shooter, maybe lockdown. Whatever it is, you need to know. So when you hear that, something's wrong. And in your classroom, some of you guys move to different classrooms throughout the day depending on what level of school you're in. Where do I go if I'm in gym? Where do I go if I'm at lunch? Where do I go if I'm in math? Right? These are the things I want you to think about. And if you don't know, ask questions. Ask your teachers. Ask your friends. Hey, do you guys know? Right? Maybe you guys have done lockdown drills. Maybe you guys are supposed to lock the door, barricade the door, hide in the closet. I'm not sure what your school wants you to do. Maybe you can jump out the window. Right? But these are questions you need to answer and have a working knowledge before the incident happens. Does that make sense, guys? All of your homework, you guys all have homework. When you go to school tomorrow, start asking questions and just say, hey, I want to be prepared. My coach was talking about this. In case there's an incident here, where do I go? What do I do? What am I going to hear? How can I escape? And if I can't escape, where can I hide? What can provide some cover, right? And God forbid, if the shooter's in your vicinity, you may have to fight, right? Run, hide, fight. Those are the three things we teach adults. You may have no other choice than to hit them with a fire extinguisher or a garbage can or something. You guys all prepared to do that? Are there any rules if someone's trying to hurt you and kill you? No rules. No holds barred. You guys can do whatever you need to do. I brought you out here for a couple of reasons. I wanted you to look around the park. I wanted the cold to wake you up a little bit and us start taking this stuff seriously. We have to talk about it. We have to have a plan. It has to be on your mind in our lives nowadays. Wherever I go, automatically my brain starts looking around for how am I going to get out if I have to, right? All right, I look for exit signs, stairwell, right? There was an incident years ago at the Station nightclub. I believe it was New Hampshire or Rhode Island. 2003. Rhode Island, thank you. It was a concert from a band called Great White, and they brought in a bunch of pyrotechnics, and it didn't mix with the insulation, and it caused a really big fire. And everyone kind of was in denial when the flames started going. Everyone was like, huh? And then panic ensued, and everybody started going towards the door that they came in. 100 people died trying to get through the same door. It was a big stampede. They all piled on top of each other. Meanwhile, there was 3 other exits that no one went to because they had no working knowledge. Even the employees that worked there totally blanked on other exits, maybe because they never prepared for it. But in the event there's a fire, an emergency active shooter, we need to know how to get out. Your chance of surviving goes way up. Talk about this with your parents. Talk about this with your teachers. We have to have a good base, right? Get out of that denial, get to deliberation, and then have a decisive movement. Get to those exits, get out of town. If I can't, then I'm gonna hide or barricade. And if nothing else, then I gotta fight, right? But the time to plan for these things is not when it happens, it's beforehand. That scripting, that muscle memory, that gives you a better chance for survival. All right.